Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here, of course, for Death Parade. Episode 5. Yes.
Uh-huh.
And now we have gotten to the Quinn of the Decim.
Right.
I don't know. I was just trying to think of like any kind of dumb pun I could do. Like right at the beginning there.
That works.
Yeah, it's Quinn. 5. Yeah, it works.
Alright, so we had another one-off episode, self-contained.
Things
last
could
week.
still be considered episodic. I would say that might be just the premise of this show.
Right.
I like it as far as episodic premises go because everything's been different so far.
Right, yes, they've been handling it very well. Yeah. I am wondering, though, whether it's actually going to stick with the episodic the whole way through.
I don't think so.
Because a lot of times shows will sort of start with that, and then they'll change to something else.
Right, I think that this one will have the episodic bit for maybe one more before switching. But if it goes to switch on this one, I'm very excited because No-Name and Decim, there's some really cool interactions that can happen there if they shift into a more linear story. Also, the boss of Decim has some secrets and or depth that's not being explored intentionally.
Yeah,
it's being saved for like a mystery a bit in the future. Also, I think it would be pretty cool to see them kind of poking around in the bar before people come to be judged. The idea that they could interact with the Arbiter people, like everyone a part of that organization, when there's no humans there that need to be judged.
Maybe they do like an after-work party to like unwind or something.
Something in the opening.
Yeah, exactly. And then all the Arbiters are like, okay, let's just, I had this crazy set of people today. No, don't talk about work. We're,
something like that. Yeah, that'd be fun. All right, so without further ado, let's get into this episode and see what happens. Oh. Her memories? This is interesting. It's like a children's story.
Yeah.
外は雪が降っていました。その時ジミーは氷の上を子犬と走り回る女の子を見つけたのです。ジミーはすぐにその女の子のことが大好きになってしまいました。とっても可愛く笑っていたからです。また同じ夢。
Oh, a different one.
こんなのあったっけ?
Yeah. Huh.
Maybe there is a dinner party tonight.
Maybe. We might get... Oh! Oh,
okay.
No.
Okay.
Is it kids? Huh. Yep.
ちょっと、なんで? これ何?
わかりません。ノーナさんに取り替えろと言われました。
Oh.
Okay.
Interesting.
What does the boss lady have in mind?
お客様ですか? そろそろいらっしゃいます。
そう。
Whoa, whoa. He's got a download.
記憶?
はい。ですがお迎えは結構です。
は? なんで?
何か妙です。
Huh.
何が妙なのよ?
Tana! 気をつけろ!
ごめんなさい。
おい!
Jeez.
どこなんだここ? いらっしゃいませ。クイーンデキムへようこそ。クイーンデキム? では、早速で申し訳ありませんが、少し質問をさせていただきます。ここへ来た時のことを覚えていらっしゃいますか?
いや、全く。
結構です。
でもよ、なんかおめえ、見覚えがあるんだよな。
Really?
そうですか。
Yeah, this is the weird part. This is connected to Decim's past.
Probably.
Jimmy had white hair.
That's true. And it's also, why are they showing so many details about the start of it when they've already established it? Usually they've just been skipping over it.
Right.
僕も何も覚えてないです。
The son?
ノーナが担当になってどのくらいでしたっけ?
What?
Nona's boss?
What the heck?
Okay,
What
that's
the
cool.
heck?
That's cool.
That's legit.
Oh, so this is the... Okay, this is the guy from the opening.
The older guy. That's too funny.
Yeah.
ノーナが担当になってから5769勝負をしてるんです。私たち。
一度でももういいかなって適当にやっちゃうとズルズルになっちゃうの。
ズルズル？
飽きちゃうの。
かわいいですね。
やめてよ。
このまま終わるかとヒヤヒヤしました。
わざとよ。チャンスは生かさないと。
Oh. Crap. How did he...
Okay.
How did he sense that?
お客様。いかがな
Does he already know that he's dead?
I think so.
Holy crap.
Okay.
お客様。
Yeah.
思い出したぞ。その変な話し方。どっかで聞いたことあると思ったんだ。二度とあんな思いは込めた。
Wait, is he someone that got reincarnated that's then back
Yes.
here and he remembers
Yes.
his previous life?
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
They're bringing up the passage of time here by
Uh-huh.
showing these guys saying how long they've been here.
Yep.
But
Yep.
the idea that Decim...
よく最低者が続いたもんで
Yes.
す。
うるさいわね。
雲の糸というお話をご存知ですか？
なんだこ
地獄にいる神田にお釈迦様が雲の糸を垂らすのです。
Oh.
たった一度だけ雲を助けたという理由で、
Hmm.
極楽を夢見た神田は糸を登り始めます。ところがたくさんの罪人が後に続き、糸が切れることを恐れた神田は他の罪人を落としてしまう。
うるせえ黙れ。状況分かってんのかおめえ。
Yeah.
こんな風に
Jeez.
大丈夫？
またか。
Yeah, he remembers.
手荒な真似をして申し訳ございません。少しお話を聞かせてください。
さっさとこれを。
What?
Wait a minute.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Hold on a
whoa.
second.
He's smiling. That kid is
Yeah,
smiling. What is
the-
going on?
何者ですか？
まだわかんねえのか。鈍感だな、デキム。
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Do they actually have enemies in a place like this?
Yeah. He's like, this entire bar is my power. Like,
ただけだ。
okay,
そ
good.
んなに
その女が大事か？
Is he another Arbiter?
Probably.
最低できなかった客ってそいつだろ。
はい。
なんでだ？
クイーンデキムに来た時に彼女は自分が死んでいることを覚えていた。
Oh!
なんだそりゃ。聞いたことねえぞ。
ですからゲームに誘導することができなかった。
Okay.
Whoa!
That makes
記憶を
sense.
消し最低の期限を延長してもらうことになりました。彼女は行動や意見が新鮮で興味深いのです。
Fresh.
無
Okay,
表
he's
情
not
で
gonna
何
get
言って
bored.
んだお前。
Right.
イライラするからもう黙れ。
Are we gonna get a battle between Arbiters?
Jeez.
Okay.
What is this?
Alright.
やる気満々じゃねえか。こんなん当たり
Oh my gosh,
That
that visual.
animation!
Oh, Nona!
いい加減に
Too strong!
誰がこんなことしろって言ったのよ。
ああ、こりゃひどい。
Oh,
どう
this
し
is
てもって
awful.
言うからやらせてやったのに。
She paralyzed him.
Yeah.
クラビスも
Would be like some kind of pressure point.
来る前のルールと理由。
This is good.
お客様2人分の生前記憶が編集されて情報部から私たち裁定者に転送されます。
Alright.
Cool.
それが裁定のための基準の一つとなります。
んで、今回は
お子さんの記憶が転送されませんでした。
それで
警戒していたつもりですが、
あれのせいで子供から注意がそれた。
Right.
Okay.
アホ、記憶のない人間など存在しない。
あちらの方は
混濁した記憶を埋め込まれた人形。人間じゃない。
そうですか。
じゃあ、あとよろしく。
Okay.
はーい。
Jeez.
それで
Their little
ギンティは
rivalry.
何しに来たんですか。
底なしのバカだな、お前。
What?
Is that? Okay.
This is Ginty's spot where he has the game, where he plays the games or what
I
have you?
don't think so.
Oh my gosh.
あら、坊やがダメだったの？よくわかるわね、カストラ。ク
Castra.
イーンのテストでしょ？
Now,
坊
she
や
was
最
not
低
in
者
the
何年
opening.
目だっけ？5年目。
How does he restore the bar? Does it just happen based on his abilities
Possibly.
and such?
I love
They
how-
said it's not possible for an arbiter and human to be together.
Uh-huh.
ジミーは
Which
女の子に
means that's what this show's
遊ぼう
about,
と言いまし
basically.
た。
Right.
だけど女の子は笑っているだけで答えてくれません。女の子は耳が聞こえないので言葉を知らないのです。名前もまだわからないけ
Right.
ど、
Yeah, he didn't
なん
know
だ
her
かと
name.
っても仲良くなれる。そ
Yeah.
んな気がしたからです。
Oh.
夜、ジミーはお母さんにその話をしました。お母さんがその女の子の名前をチャボだと教えてくれました。
That might not be her name
ジ
though.
ミーは温かい
It might
コ
be,
コアを飲みながら
Because
何度も
Jimmy doesn't necessarily
チャ
mean.
ボ、チャボと繰
That's
り返しました。
Wow. It's a story within a story.
Now, is that something that she's just having naturally or intentionally, like from Nona?
By
maybe?
Nona?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. Right. Yeah,
Yep.
she's been reading this story.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Okay.
We got some questions and some answers from this this episode.
Yeah,
Because
so-
we do know that it's not necessarily going to be an episodic show all the
Right.
time. We
Yeah,
do know
they
that
established that
there's some linear story that's going on besides the stuff that we already know about. There's more
Right.
with all the other arbiters. This whole thing is basically an organization that Nona is the current acting manager of, but that
Yeah.
guy was kind of her. He's like the owner of the establishment.
Right, it's like if she's like the mid-level management and he's like the upper
Executive,
level management. Yeah, the
CEO
executive,
kind of
whatever.
thing.
Right.
Right. And the idea that No Name has been wiped of her memories intentionally by them because she remembered being human, thus
Right.
screwing up
And
the
being
judgment
dead.
process.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah, not remembering being human, but remembering
being dead. So
right.
So then that means the show's probably going to end with her leaving, right?
Being judged.
Being judged, right?
Yes, exactly.
Which is great. I absolutely look
Love
forward
that.
to that. I get the feeling it's going to be a bit of a tearjerker,
I agree.
regardless.
Because think about it this way: it's not necessarily about where she'll be sent to,
but that
it's
she'll
the fact
be
that
sent away. Yeah, exactly.
And
Now-
the idea that Decim in particular has a fascination for her already means he
They'll
will
probably
develop
get fonder and
feelings for
fonder.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the idea that they have this little children's story weaving through the whole thing, and Nona's been reading it all the time, and we didn't really catch on to that until they showed the little end credits bit.
Right.
That story being in Nona's hands, doesn't that mean potentially that Nona is screwing with her memories or her dreams in some way?
Possibly.
from her home
yes,
or whatever.
and the main question for that would be why.
Why, yeah.
And I think the main reason is to screw with Decim.
I think it might be to screw with Decim, but I also think it might be not like there's no malice involved. It's the idea that she's doing this to actually kind of fix Decim.
Right.
I feel like
but the thing is, that might not be a way that Decim wants to be fixed. Yeah. So because it's she has also the Kudere design. Right. So it follows that it would make sense that whatever she's doing would not be from any sense of malice, but rather like a cold, just sort of, this is what needs to be done.
Exactly.
Which will then be in conflict with what Decim wants.
Because this story seems to be crafted... It's a children's storybook kind of thing, but it might not necessarily be like that. It's the idea that this story could be used as a medium to communicate how she wants to influence Decim, but we'll just have to wait and see.
So something that we mentioned, I think, like near one of the first episodes, was the idea that what if Decim is also being tested?
Yes, Decim is. We know for a fact he's being tested now.
Right, but whether it's being tested for the standpoint of he also died and now he's one of the people being tested, or just he's being tested and he's an Arbiter.
Right. We know that he's been an Arbiter for 5 years because she had no reason to lie to Castra about that whole thing. The Grim Reaper like character who's observing all the deaths. By the way, the visuals in this episode
were spectacular
for even Death Parade standards.
Right.
The bit where they showed Ginty
like
running
up
through the room
Decim.
in that pseudo 3D kind of...
That's how you use 3D.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
Also, the like the facial expressions, of course, were fantastic. On
they were.
The dummy guy who came in.
Yep.
But also having things shift into that kind of children's book thing, but then have it be within all this other stuff.
Within the dream. Now, okay. The fact that Nona said you can take the day off.
Right.
Does that mean that the next episode is going to be his actual day off, or that was basically saying, no, there's no one else for today. The episode's over.
Right. The episode's over.
That's probably what it was. Now, one of the things that I'm a bit curious about is that with the way they set up like the story and everything, with particularly the storybook aspect of it, that it seems like too easy of a parallel to make between Decim and No Name.
I think it is a bit too easy, but there might be some things there that we're missing. It's the idea that it's obvious that that's the parallel, but that's not the thing they want us to be discovering.
Right, which makes me wonder, what is the thing they're wanting us to discover?
Right, and I think what it is the reason why this storybook is being used to... like, why is she dreaming about it, and why is potentially Nona making her dream about it?
Okay, here's a crazy thought. So, if it's obvious that it's making a parallel between Decim and No Name, right?
Right.
Then the question is not if that parallel is being made, but rather what the parallel is saying.
Right.
How was Decim portrayed
by Jimmy?
By Jimmy.
Jimmy was fascinated with the girl that he saw,
right?
And he desired to communicate his feelings to her, but she was deaf, so he tried to do whatever he could.
So what if it was basically what if them doing that was a roundabout way of basically saying, we know you'll figure out that this is this is a parallel with Decim, right? So we're actually using this as a way to give subtle exposition, so to speak, about Decim's personality and his emotions, since we don't actually see those come to the surface.
Yes.
And I think that's way more interesting, especially considering that they had it be from the perspective of a child.
Right.
So the emotions aren't very
mature.
They're not very mature, and they're not very clearly defined. They're much more like simple and raw.
Yeah.
So
there's some interesting possibilities to say the least.
Yeah, they could do some cool things with that.
Right. Adding in all these new characters and stuff was also a really cool idea, because the show got the message across of what its themes were from the general sense, so it had a good foundation that was ready to receive these characters. We have the boss guy, who is basically the closest thing to God.
Apparently. Self-proclaimed.
Yeah, then there's Jinti, who is basically the not so good arbiter.
Sidekick.
Yeah, basically the not as good arbiter as Decim. So he's not as in high favor with Nona.
Right.
But then you had the Grim Reaper Castra.
Yeah.
She's sitting in this throne with the skull mask, playing a video game, watching 7,000
blood
people die an hour. Yeah, while drops of little blood, all
that
looks
probably
like
represent
blood.
people, are falling down into a bunch of wine glasses.
Right. I just... That alone, I've got to tack that onto the cool imagery bit of Death Parade.
Absolutely, yes.
Was that whole room.
Yes, it was.
Also, the pool table of planets was pretty cool.
That was pretty great.
That was a little bit on the nose with the we are demigods, gods kind of aspect of the show.
And then they're all and then when they go back down, they go into their orbits
and return to their
in the solar
size,
system.
their unique size.
Yep.
Jupiter and Saturn being all big again instead of being equal to the size of or the other ones.
Yeah. Now, this was also a great way for them to give exposition on the Arbiters and the whole power of whatever this place is.
Yeah.
Without it seeming strange, because they were introducing a lot of characters, so it would make sense that they would go around to different places and do a little bit of explaining here and there. But they were also questioning Decim, and by doing that, they were able to bring up the norm as a meter to compare against.
Right.
Even though they hadn't really done a whole lot to define what the norm is before.
No, they did. They did.
Like they had.
No, they did. It was
episode 2.
It was episode 2.
Yeah.
It was when they went into the very first one there. Nona gave quite a bit of description talking about the memories and how they're used. So we've done all that before. This was going into like the finesse of making sure it's not just the function, it's the form. It's the idea that episode 2 is about what's the function of arbiters.
Yeah.
This episode was about how good arbiters should behave.
Exactly.
It's the idea that, if you're not taking all these variables into account based on the memories, you're failing as an arbiter. And it felt kind of like a manager talking to an employee.
It did.
Basically, she's like, I'm not going to be nice to you. Yep. You need to do this right. People's lives are at stake. It's like, well, technically they're dead.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So does this mean that it'll end up being something where at the end of it, Nona basically decides, Decim, you're fired as an arbiter, and then you either go to the void or for reincarnation, and then him and No Name go into their separate elevators, and then it pans up and shows what happens to him.
I've always wondered not how they would end up being together, like what would actually be the thing that separates them. And I thought it was generally the fact that she was just going to go through one of the elevators and it was going to be sad. But the idea that they could both go through different elevators,
and here's the
cool.
thing. Here's the thing. They established this episode that arbiters and humans can't be together, right? So if she sent him into one of the elevators and they both went for reincarnation, they would both come back as humans, and that would be a way that they could be together. Potentially, if they found each other and all that.
Possibly. I like that theory more than they'll split into different directions, because I feel like this show is the kind of one where they're going to build up some tension about something that'll pull them apart.
Right.
But in the end, they'll make it a happy ending.
Right, because that opening is a very happy opening, even though it's for something called Death Parade, where it's about judging people's souls and all that.
We got a fight between two arbiters.
We did.
Like,
a bit one-sided, granted.
Oh, very one-sided. Unlimited Furniture Works is pretty OP compared to second-rate Waterbender.
As soon as he started manipulating the furniture, all I could think of was, I saw a spider, so I threw a table at it. It survived, so I threw a table.
Okay, enough. But having this kind of interaction, showing it different from the norm thus far, builds a lot to the world that they're in as well. I know that they're in an alternate dimension of some kind or what have you.
Yeah.
This Quindecim place or what have you. But it makes it feel lived in. And even though that's kind of a bad pun for the fact that they're not really Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it doesn't really work. it's very good for us as just viewers to experience it with that added depth.
Yes. Plus, it's kind of fun to see conflict in the place where you wouldn't expect there to be any conflict.
Right.
Because, like, otherwise it can just get kind of dry. You know?
It get really dry.
Yeah. And so it's nice that they do this. It's nice that
it didn't. It didn't.
Oh, it didn't.
It hasn't.
It hasn't. Right. But it was nice that they did that because it helps make the Arbiters and the people in this Quindecim place feel more like people.
Which is funny because they're not people.
Because they're not people.
Right.
But since the strongest, like the two strongest examples of Arbiters up till this point were Decim and Nona, both have the Kudere design and personality, I would say. So
and now we have Jinty, who is the exact opposite.
Exactly.
He is the raging redhead of...
That's right.
Tim, what did you say to me, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and if anything, the only person I think we still need to meet is the eye patch person. Unless that was...
I'm sure there's more.
Unless that was the Grim Reaper person.
Possibly. But No Name, having gained her memories that she was dead... when the test began, meant that they had to basically be like, quick, let's try and reset this and remove her memories. Why didn't they judge her immediately after removing her memories? Why was it extended? Here's the thing, Jacob.
That is a great question.
Here's the thing. My theory is that Nona is basically testing Decim because Decim stuck his neck out a little bit for No Name. I'll bet what happened is that No Name was the one that argued for her judgment to be extended, and Nona wasn't wanting that, and Decim gave a pretty good argument. And now Nona is kind of watching him like, I don't want to replace you because you're great. Right. Jinty sucks, but...
And you have been kind of slipping up.
You have been slipping up a little bit now. Is this woman influencing you in a negative way?
Yeah.
And Nona seems to have that little bit of, I would say, a little bit of a hard, kind of antagonistic kind of bit
because
towards Decim, that she's not really going to support him that much. I understand that she's got the manager role. It's kind of like a work, it's like a work relationship, you know. But I get even the vibe that she disagrees with him fundamentally, and that would be one of those decisions where it's a pre-show, question that kind of sets the pace for everything moving forward from here. Basically, she doesn't seem to be very supportive of Decim in general.
No. In fact, most of the times that she's on screen...
She's chiding him. Yes.
Which is... That sort of, like, corroborates the theory that
just a little bit.
Decim's being watched.
Right. Well, he's obviously being watched, but the evaluation part in particular flies really true when you think about the idea that her thing was extended for 3 months and she's being let partner with him as an arbiter.
Right. Now here's the thing that I think also adds to this. All right.
Yeah.
Nona referenced that No Name was going to be there for 3 months, but she also referenced this one's going to be here for 3 months. There was this idea that No Name is not the first person to come through.
That had this situation happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I think it's actually more of a condescension bit that because Nona's not human,
possibly
that she treats them a little bit as things.
Possibly, but I don't know. Maybe we should go. I want to go back and rewatch that episode because
I think you should rewatch it because I don't think that that's necessarily going towards either theory that we're bringing up here, and therefore it's kind of risky to speculate on.
Well, no. The reason why I think it could go into this theory is that it could be a different way to sort of end it. Is that what if it's the idea not that Decim just started messing up when No Name came around?
Sure.
But actually he had been for a while. Maybe he built a habit of maybe getting a little bit attached sometimes with the humans that would come through.
Oh, here's something to put that theory to bear. How do they get the memories regained when they're playing the games? Decim gives them to them.
Yeah.
At like specific intervals.
Sure.
What if What if they're like, oh, there was some kind of fluke and she just got her memories,
and they think that's Decim?
And they don't necessarily think it's Decim, but it was. But Nona has been growing suspicious.
Okay,
it's the idea that Decim might have gotten bored, and he decided to switch things up a bit, and that's where they're tying that in with the pool table.
They did. Yeah, they did.
So Decim basically is trying to find a way to alleviate his boredness, maybe.
Right.
But by having a friend for this whole thing. But let's say that it wasn't necessarily a thing of true love at first sight or anything like that. But he is like loving her being there. And him loving her being there could lead to him loving her.
Right. And either way, that doesn't fit with the code of kudere that Nona is enforcing with her Arbiter dealio. So conflict.
Yep. And we have already seen two Arbiters fighting right now, and now we've established the pecking order that Nona could destroy them.
Yeah.
And easily Decim, probably.
Oh, yeah, because she has that whole chi-blocking pressure point, whatever that was.
Well, also, she seems to be in charge because she's just stronger. Like,
sure.
That's just a thing.
Yeah. Also, maybe because she doesn't get emotionally involved, she makes for a better, overseer.
Well, see, here's where I actually think that's wrong. We've already seen her sentiment. She's reading the children's book.
That's true.
And that was established in the very first episode.
That's right. It was.
So Nona could actually be the one that's maybe a little bit mad at herself and therefore projecting it out at Decim by saying things like,
so she's not actually...
You're slipping up, but it's actually her.
She's not actually a kudere. She's actually a tsundere.
Right.
She's or like a mix between those two. Hot and
I
cold.
mentioned that she was a tsundere in the beginning.
Oh, that's right. You did.
Yeah. Well, she gave me... Well, no.
Or that she gave you vibes.
She gave me vibes, and some of them I actually thought were yandere vibes because she, put her hand on his shoulder and gave that little... and I was like, She shut her eyes completely when she smiled. That was a little bit freaky.
This is gonna.
But I think they're layering the characters a little bit now with some of the seeds for that eventual ending, and then therefore when you go back and rewatch, you'll go, "Yep, they were telling us the whole time."
Yes,
and it's just a question of whether or not we caught the specific ones they were laying out for us, which I think we've caught quite a few thus far.
I think we have.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I think this show deals with a lot of complex themes. But the plot's progression is not as complex.
Right.
It's not simple.
It's bad.
Or bad. No. Yeah. But it's the idea that there are little bits where we're like, I can see what they're trying to do here. Yeah. It's just a question of which things that they're hinting at are they actually going to jump on and make be the actual way the story ends.
Which threads are they going to pull on?
Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Yep. And I'm sure Decim's real thing is his, he's been an unwoven thread for too long, and he would like to weave his way into someone else's life,
right,
and have them woven into his.
Yep.
I'm not making a sexual joke, guys. I'm making this in the poetic way. The idea that everyone has their timeline and weaving, And don't make a caboose joke, I swear to God.
I wasn't. I was just telepathically telling you that I was making a caboose joke.
In your head. I heard it. It was pretty strong. All right. Well, that was it for this episode. If you want to watch the next episode's discussion, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access, which comes with Discord access as well. You can chat with us about storytelling or what have you. And we'll see you all there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.